Hello, everyone. So we earn around $1 million per year in dividends. As you know, that's what's so enticing about my channel and my style of investing is we get these dividends using margin, but we also outperform the markets in the process. We're at 1% now for the year. The NASDAQ is down for the year. We're about in line with the S&P. And that begs the question, is this a top now that we're seeing in technology stocks and Bitcoin related funds? I'm going to break that down in this video. I'm going to share with you 5 ways to defend against a possible top in Magnificent 7 technology, Bitcoin related dividend ETFs. You know that we go for dividend ETFs here, so we're not just talking Mag 7 and Bitcoin, we're talking dividend related funds that help pay down our margin and live free from a 9 to 5. If you need help doing the same, email me for my e-guides or head to my website, Unconventional Wealth Ideas, where we're leading the FIRE movement. FIRE stands for Financially Independent, Retire Early. All right, so I have a lot of exciting news to share with y'all because, you see that on Friday we're down $29,000. Well, okay, for me, that was down 1.11%. If you look above, the NASDAQ was down 0.94. So I was pretty close to the NASDAQ. I don't mind that kind of performance, especially when I'm using margin, okay? When I'm using margin, that should be a lot worse. That kind of drop in the market, we should be seeing a lot more weakness, okay? So my dividends of around $1 million pay down my debt in less than a year. So the leverage is not the risky thing here at this channel. Neither are the interest rates that I'm charged here. It's the holdings within the account, as I always say. Margin investing is stupid if you just buy stocks on margin. We buy dividend funds on margin, all right? And so we have a lot of Yieldmax tech-related dividend ETFs here at this channel. Y'all know that I like Cornerstone. That's the first thing that I started out with. That's the main index fund, but it's my Cornerstone. But then we branched out to Yieldmax ETFs. And Yieldmax is really exciting because they give you these high yields, 90%, plus, in some cases. Misty is one of those Bitcoin ETFs. And Ulti is another exciting fund by Yieldmax. I don't get paid by Yieldmax. I don't get compensation from any funds. I don't give any advice, just sharing what works for me. So Ulti, as you can see, 70% dividend, Misty, pretty high dividend as well. These help pay down my margin and help me live free from 9 to 5. As long as these are performing well, then I'm okay, all right? And you can see my performance is doing well because obviously we're tied to the indexes and the indexes are about flat. And so we're about flat. We were up 4% to start the year, and now we're down to being up only 1%. All right, and the S&P is catching up, and so that's why I made this video. All right, the Russell was up 10% before, okay? Last week was up 10. And so you're seeing this shift now from tech and hyper growth to value, all right? And last video, I laid out ways to get hyper growth, ways to get growth, data center growth, AI growth away from Yieldmax. We need this diversification away from Yieldmax. So how do we do that? Well, again, go see that video. I listed 5 names for you that I think were absolutely crucial to outperforming last week. Okay, many of them were up on a down day. You could see Cornerstone, for example, was up. That's not one of the stocks I gave you. One of the stocks I gave you, for example, was Lindy. All right, basic materials, you can see it's having its move back up. That was just one of the stocks that we covered last week once again. And it only got 2,500 views, these videos, because even though I'm the only YouTube channel out there living out of my account and, really getting this outperformance and really showing other members how to do it. Great to see all my members, by the way. Guys, if y'all, have any questions about anything this week, just give me a call, of course. All right, great to see my members. And my members, we take these ideas, with all these dividend ETFs and margin, and we get this outperformance together. Okay, you can sign up for my memberships anytime on YouTube on my wall. All right, so you can see my live, market action there and how I get through all this stuff, and you can see that those videos anytime after as well. It's not like they're just live. You can use those precedents for any time in your life. And right now, my members and I are really heavily invested in some of these tech-related ETFs, and we should be because the market is comprised mostly of tech. The Mag 7 names are basically all technology, and 40% or so of the indexes are technology. So we're using these tech ETFs, but we're also using stocks. At least I'm using a small amount of my portfolio to buy these other stocks. And I have 5 ideas for y'all to combat not necessarily a bear market and not necessarily a top in the overall market, but a top with technology. As I just showed you, Lindy was moving higher. Okay. Also anything value related. Okay. Cornerstone, that is our cornerstone. But look, it was up on Friday when the market was down. You have to keep this stuff in mind because Cornerstone is a closed-end fund. And so a lot of other areas of the market are starting to broaden out. Okay, you've heard this theme. The rally is broadening. I've been saying this for weeks now, to start the year. Even to end last year, we saw that the market rally, the market was shifting towards a rotation in these other names that I've been buying at these lows, like Alindy. And you also have closed-end funds like Gove, like Cornerstone. And so Cornerstone, my members are most excited about these tech ETFs. That's what we trade on a lot with, margin, but also we use Cornerstone. And again, great to see all my members here today. I hope everyone's doing well this weekend. So Cornerstone, it's just important to note that it was up on Friday in a down market, okay? And Cornerstone, you can see here, CLM, it's a 4-star fund on Morningstar, moves upper left or right on its chart. Also, let's check on the drips for CLM. Every month we get a 20% dividend on Cornerstone on top of the 21% dividend. Every year we get 25% every month. 25% gains in CLM now every month. I've seen premiums as high as 50%, close to 50% in Cornerstone. And a lot of my members are wondering, hey, when should we be, sizing out of Cornerstone? I talk all about that in Volume 4. But it's tricky also, because we lay out the premium thresholds in Volume 4, but you also have to look at the market as a whole. And if the market as a whole is broadening out and it's rallying, not just, with tech, it's rallying with other sectors, financials, basic materials, energy. Well, then again, even other asset classes, BDCs, CEFs, these could all get going again because they're seen as undervalued compared to tech. Same for global equities. Okay. We're up 50% in my EURL leverage ETF, for example. I wish I had more in that, unfortunately. So 25% premiums in Cornerstone. Okay. So this was one way to do it because it was up on Friday and you get these drips at the NAV every month. And so this helps offset any losses in the market. It's buying at the bottom of the market for you, buying at the NAV, giving you these 25% gains, these drip gains on top of the 20% dividend. And that's why Cornerstone has helped me outperform every year. Okay, I've been in Cornerstone since Corona. I've been investing for 20 years, but Corona for about 6 years now. And look at this chart, it goes sideways. Okay, so it's very steady. It actually moves upper left or right. You can get, like I said, 25 to 50% gains from the NAV, but you have to play it properly. You have to sell at these highs and buy at the lows, which we alert you of in Discord. We alert you of the Cornerstone rights offering announcement here. At this, you see this announcement here? That's when the top came in Cornerstone here. Okay, so that announcement, that date coincides with this top. We sold, we bought at the bottom. Okay, again, when you buy my e-guides, you get free Discord access for life. All right, so Cornerstone, that's one way to beat it. Not only with Cornerstone itself because it was up on a down day, but also because of the drips at the NAV. Okay, hard to beat that. No other fund in the world drips at the NAV like that. All right, no SPYI or QQQI or anything does anything close to Cornerstone. It's been around since the 80s. Again, I don't get compensated from Cornerstone. I just share what works for me. That's how I built this channel. That's how I built my wealth in my own portfolio. Now other channels talk about Cornerstone and margin. All the power to them. All right, so but you have to be familiar with Cornerstone. You have to be playing this thing. You get experience every year, and every year the rights offering is a little bit different. Every year it's the way the premiums are played are a little bit different. So if you're new to Cornerstone and you're in these other channels, I guarantee you they don't have the back history that we have here at my channel and at Discord. Where we've covered all these events in Cornerstone since 2023. Okay, you can see them all here in the Cornerstone discussion channel. Those are very active channels. You can also see other channels there for your enjoyment. Lots of other information on getting loans to get ahead, et cetera, at Discord. So that's one way, Cornerstone. Obviously, next, you want to have your put options on. Okay, my members are probably thinking, oh gosh, Todd, we know about the put options, but I don't think the public knows you buy the indexes and then you buy put options, okay? You marry the indexes with put options. You saw how our put options were up over 100%. What was it, last week, the week before last? I haven't even checked on my options recently because we've delevered our margin. I don't care so much about my options anymore. My bought puts. These are sold puts that you see here. These are to go long on offense. My bought puts, my hedges on the indexes are higher up, and we can make hundreds of thousands of dollars off a small amount of money in these options, yet we only lose a small amount every month. If we lose, which we want to lose, it's like house insurance. But if we really have a spike down in the market, a true crash, you saw with the Trump tariffs, we were up 2,000% in one of those options in one day. Okay, so do the math on that. Do $100 times 2,000. I just wish I had more in those options at that time. Once again, we made many thousands, but not like I should have made. Okay, so this time we're going to get it right. We talk all about options in volume 5, but I also talked about my corrections on how I do my put options for max performance in volume 7. Okay, volume 7 is how to play Cornerstone with leverage funds, with Yieldmax and those high yield dividend paying funds, but it's also how you deleverage in a down market, which we're going to be using. That's going to come in handy in these coming months if the market falls. And it also gives some improvements from my last e-guide, my volume 5 e-guide. I haven't had to make any improvements from my e-guides. The only change I would make from my e-guides is, because members ask sometimes like, hey, do I need any updated e-guides? Cornerstone, I remember back in the day, you had to call to get the drip in Cornerstone. Now it's just automatic. That's the only change I would make to my e-guides. That, and in volume 5, we talk about how to buy put options to, maximize, your performance, protect yourself in a downturn, survive, market crashes, keep living free from 9 to 5. But in volume 7, I talk more about how to use them with 0 DTE, which adds much more, packs more punch, okay, in your options, okay? Those can move much more, and so see that in volume 7. So use your options to protect from a down market, okay? Very simple. Options, very simple. All right, third point. Okay, so we've talked other stocks. I'm just going to give you a few other gems, okay? Cornerstone is the index fund. You want to put most of your money in the index funds. You want to keep small amounts in these stocks, especially the metal stocks. We were just talking about metal stocks, last week. And I was saying, do not chase metals. I'm stocking metals and small caps. I'm buying them very small. And I got a good chance to pick away on Friday during that insane run with silver, okay? Silver was down 28% on Friday. That is just amazing. So these are, leading some to believe that this is a sign of a market top. Not because silver's topping out. That's actually quite healthy. All right, silver and gold. But it's because of the fact that GBTC, Bitcoin, is starting to suffer a bit, okay? It's flirting with taking out, the recent lows. And so if Bitcoin breaks, that means risk on sentiment fails, and many other asset classes could fail, like technology with, the Magnificent Seven names. They're all kind of similar. They're all kind of tied together with risk on. And so if GBTC breaks this point, we've already broken this point. Okay, so now this is the line in the sand. This means that everyone should be running for the exits if this cannot hug and hold on Monday. So to prepare for that, you can not have as much Bitcoin exposure, and you can sell options on Bitcoin instead. My BitX was barely even down on a major down day with Bitcoin. Sometimes it's down with Bitcoin, but other times it's barely even down. It was actually up, my members saw on one live video, when Bitcoin was down, because these are extremely conservative. I use the options to pay down my margin, and my margin is 510, but my margin would be around 35,000 here with BitX and 15. Let's just call it 35 and 15 rounding, so that's 50,000. My margin has fallen by 50,000. I just sell the puts and I get the cash immediately when I sell options. Okay, they lower my margin and they lower my risk because the premiums I receive lower my cost basis, giving me a lower cost basis than the rest of the world. Okay, BitX, here's a 30 strike right here, but I got, let's just say $12 for rounding, so 30 minus 12. We're at below 20 a share for our cost basis, whereas the rest of the market with BitX, for example, is currently at BitX. Let's see the market price. which is the double for GBTC. BidX is at 25. So I'm controlling it much lower than anyone else. If I were to get assigned now, we would be assigned at a massive gain. That's why my put options work so well for me. If you need help with these, see volume 6. Okay, that's how I sell puts, volume 6. All right, so you can sell put options. You can take your Bitcoin off if it breaks those key moving averages like it just has, that key support level. And again, I don't give advice. I just share what works for me. I'm going to be sharing more with my members on Monday, on how exactly I'm, swapping out names in my portfolio to lower my volatility, to protect myself in a downturn, and selling the options on them instead to take the volatility out of my account, but still get exposure to the same asset. Lower your risk, lower your margin, and then when the market rallies, even if these don't rally and they just go sideways, you just win because you sell time when you sell options. You don't need the option to go up. You just sell time and you win. All right. If we're just to go sideways from here forever in Bitcoin, by the time expiration comes in my option, I will be plus $50,000 in my account. Okay. My account will grow by 50,000, and it's just a beautiful way to print money. All right. Selling options. All right. Okay. So I gave y'all Bitcoin. I just gave you Cornerstone, and I gave you ways to protect Bitcoin. Obviously, with Mag 7, you can do a little bit of Fang D, to protect from Mag 7 names if they were to fall. Fang D is not an exact short on the Mag 7 names, but it's close enough. Okay. We already talked about put options. Then you can buy defensives. Okay. Something like a Pepsi. Pepsi was up 3% for us on Friday. You can see here that it's still well off the highs. It was at 175 and formerly 200. So while I wouldn't just buy this stock here, I would wait for a pullback. This has been doing really well for us. It gave us upside on a down day. If you're just now joining the video, we're still up 1% for the year. We're getting this performance, but I want to keep it. So I see, potential, red flags with the market. We see Bitcoin, flirting with that support area that has recently now broken. That means risk off. That means Mag 7 names could have an issue. Microsoft just painted, somewhat of a negative picture, saying that basically the margins are getting compressed for Mag 7 names. But Mag 7 is very diverse, so we have to keep that in mind. Tesla is not the same, and Amazon are not the same as Microsoft. I would say software names have been getting crushed, Microsoft, ServiceNow, but they're all doing well with earnings, okay? These are not some of the holdings I wanted to recommend, but ServiceNow, I just showed you Pepsi, okay, and I don't give any recommendations. ServiceNow, look, it's just been getting killed, but its earnings was fantastic. I mean, I think they had 20% revenue growth. I mean, their AI products are working, they say. So I'm not sure if this is just this is if this has any merit, this whole, this AI boom and all this CapEx spending, compressing margins, and if it's really going to pay off. I don't know if that's just noise or if that's the truth. And it would seem like it's just noise, because how stupid could Microsoft be, to be investing so much in these, in like an open AI. NVIDIA is too. These other Mag 7 names are getting invested. Like, why would they all be doing it if it wasn't working, and if it wasn't going to work? And I mean, I know they've had blunders before, companies, but this is now a cabal of companies in a sense doing this, and it doesn't seem like they would all be wrong. And I think this is just going to make for a better runway in the future for their earnings. Okay, it'll synergize everything if we can get rid of the bottlenecks with data centers, et cetera, et cetera. So here's another name to add to the list. Speaking of energy, now I don't go big into energy because I just told you I don't go big in energy because that's what set me back during the 2020 times with Corona. Energy and real estate. So I keep them small because they are small in the indexes. Same for gold and basic materials. They are small in the indexes, so you don't buy too much of them. So when gold got killed on Friday and silver, it didn't even hurt us. Okay, that's what led to a little bit of our underperformance. We're down 1.11. And the NASDAQ was down 0.94. So gold and materials, which are in Ulti, that did affect performance some, okay, but not enough to really, change our life in any way, okay? So, and I want to keep getting this high performance. So we're going to keep getting it through Cornerstone. We're going to keep getting it through these other stocks that are up on down days that I'm listing in this video, okay? We're also going to be protecting from the market. I'm basically kind of talking about two separate ideas in this video. 5 ways to protect, okay? And then I'm always showing you how to outperform as well, okay, during this bear market, okay? potential, not bear market, not market top necessarily, because the S&P could continue to go higher, but a sector rotation perhaps from tech and hypergrowth to these other value names, okay? Cornerstone being value because it's closed-end fund and some of those are still cheap. I gave you Lindy last video. I gave you 5 other good picks, I think, last video. And these are so important to have. I gave you Pepsi just now, and EOG was up for us on Friday. Look, EOG was formerly at 150. It's at 112. That's almost, that's around 40% upside. If we fell to 100, that'd be about a 50% gain, okay, from the lows. And we've been averaging in here, my members and I, again, you don't have to buy all these stocks. I have plenty of stocks because, look, I'm telling you, I am scared of a tech reversal, of a Yieldmax, reversal on us where it's not Yieldmax reversing. Obviously, it's the tech stocks within, and then that would make Yieldmax ETFs reverse for us. People say Yieldmax is trash. Look at Misty and Ulti and all that stuff. They just don't understand factoring back in dividends, like I showed you with the Cornerstone chart on Morningstar. That's why it's 4-star. And then they don't understand that these are wrappers for the underlying ETFs, the underlying stocks. And so it's just Yieldmax. We just happen to have a lot of Yieldmax, so that would give us a correction. We like Yieldmax because they're tech-oriented and index-based, and they give us more dividend and margin reduction ability than Cornerstone gives. Because I don't like to use the Cornerstone dividends to pay down margin. I like to keep those drips going and compound those drips. So I gave you EOG. I don't need to give you much about these. These are all highly ranked. I'm not going to just give you any stock. These are all highly ranked in the indexes, okay? Highly ranked in their asset in their sectors and in the overall indexes, okay? EOG being a best of breed in the energy shale drilling space, okay? All right, so I gave you Pepsi, I gave you EOG, I gave you put options, I gave you Cornerstone, that's 4, and then 5. Why not just throw in Abbott Labs? I'm not saying buy Abbott Labs on my recommendation. I don't give recommendations, but look, it had a huge fall. Look at a 5-year chart of Abbott. Look at an all-time time frame of Abbott. It moves higher, okay? Again, they're going to be they had this interesting acquisition with Exact Sciences. And look, they fell huge. They're 20 points off of these old highs right here, just this old range. And it was formerly, at around 135. So Abbott is a nice healthcare play that was, again, up for us on a down day, okay? Other healthcare plays were up for us as well. All right, so these are the keys, okay, to outperforming in a down market, okay? You have to have diversification away from tech because it might not be a down market. It might be a sector rotation, okay? And I gave you put options on how to hedge those and, ideas on, just you can use put options. You can buy put options for hedging, or you can sell put options to just control the same asset class that you don't want the same risk to, and then you lower your risk that way. You lower your volatility, lower your margin, and I gave you these other stock picks along with Cornerstone, okay? I have one more name that I could add to the fold, okay? Because I would love my members or anyone else who's watching to comment, and maybe we can find some other plays that would be nice for some protection in a down market or outperformance, either way. I have one more idea for y'all, and I'll share it with y'all right at the end of just me getting to everyone in the comments. Just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. Hey, Justin, Frosty Dog, great to see y'all. And thank you for that message, Justin. That's really important information on our E-Trade taxes. That's vital to know that. So thank you, Justin. Thank you to all my members. Dang. Hey, Gib. Hey, Chip. Hey, Jose. Tom, great to see you, Tom. Thanks for being there with me on Friday. All my members. Hey, Major, I know the videos ran a bit long on Friday and this week, but then all of a sudden the market got crazy. I mean, we saw some historical stuff happen in silver. So it's nice that we get to watch this and stick to our plan and not really feel much pain from that, okay? But it was exciting to watch nonetheless. Hey, Major. Yeah, Dan, I would say that most members are successful with the script, but the ones who haven't been, they follow up, okay? And call me if you need help following up, and there's a way to, follow up and keep them accountable, and then you eventually have to have it, okay? They have to give it to you. Hey, RH, great to see you, RH. Bro Hannestein, hey, great to see you. So great to see everyone. Hey, Lambos. Justin was up 6, now down to 2% now. Yeah, and that's another thing, Justin, is like we're using this margin, and and I'm going to talk about how to do smaller accounts, because like the thing is like I'm not saying that your account is bigger or smaller than mine. I'm just saying that either with a smaller account or with more margin leverage or more beta, you're going to see, massive fluctuations in your account. And those are the 3 variables to always manage. Okay. So I'm going to talk about small accounts. I'm going to talk about heavy margin accounts. And I'm going to talk about, just high beta. So, small accounts, high beta, high margin. Those are all 3 things that we need to be watching and we need to discuss ways to shield our portfolio from those in down markets. Okay, so stay tuned for those. Hey, Alex. Great to see you, Alex. JK, 01, what's up? Dylan, I've been buying IDVO as my international income ETF. Pretty good. Yeah, nice call, Dylan. International stocks have been on fire. I already alluded to that with EURL and even like Korea, some of these China plays, Latin America, South American plays like even Valley, but those are tied to metals. Melly, we had a 15% gain in Melly, Mercado Libre. So yeah, these are all exciting. And I don't just pick any stocks. I'm going with the indexes, of course, or key asset classes. And if you don't want to go with the stocks, IDVO might be, something for you. Thank you for that idea, Dylan. Run, are you going to buy the 1.5 QQI when it comes out? 22% yield. Yeah, I'm really excited about those, Run. And hey, Gloria, great to see you, Staines. Let's go. And I can't wait to share more with you on those, Run. Hey, Mark. Hey, Eve. Oh man, how do I convey my love for y'all enough? Okay, Frosty Dog. Because again, I'm really living this. Y'all are really my members. I really talk to y'all in person. I talk to y'all on the phone. I'm here with you on the lives. Like, it's just very personal to me. Great to see y'all. Frosty, BTC already broke that line. It dipped under 76. Yep, 5 minutes ago. Yep, and I saw that alert, Frosty. And since we've already broken that line, this weekend, you staying on top of that for me has just been, very confirming. Like we break that line, look out below. So if this happens, I would really look into, buying put options. Okay, the way I buy put options on the indexes, you can buy them for anything. I would look into buying put options and selling put options on Bitcoin at these levels because you get more for selling puts at these levels, and yet you protect yourself, okay? And you can, and then you don't have to worry about the day's losses from Bitcoin outright in your portfolio because the sold puts are much less, as you've seen. Hey, but great info, Frosty. Thanks as always, brother. That's my admin from Discord. Can't thank you enough. Love you, brother. SL, good morning, SL. Hey, Breadman, what's up, Breadman? Sam, great to see you, Sam. SL, I can't post much because I'm standing my fence. No worries, SL. Just having you here is good enough. I appreciate you. Hey, Seagal, good morning. I know it's been a rough week. Justin was, showing, was just commenting on that, and I know your son's getting going now, Seagal, so just everyone stay patient. We're going to talk ways on Monday to really protect ourselves. Like I've talked about 5 ways, but you already know these names in the portfolio and stuff like that. We're going to go over my true game plan, like a much more in-depth game plan on how to finesse through this market and continue getting our performance, just like we did during the recent corrections here on YouTube. Okay, the Trump tariffs, just like how we got through that, might not be the same history lesson, but history doesn't repeat, but it certainly rhymes. And so we're going to be going back to some of those techniques that we used in those times, Seagal. And I hope that your son can apply some of those. Hey, you and the family, of course, everyone. DOHC, ServiceNow just moved to my city. I think their employees will save some money moving to Florida. Interesting, yeah, because they're cutting back a lot. Hiring is really dropping for these tech companies. I heard it was like a major drop in hiring, and if they move to some of these tax-friendly states, that could keep some of the jobs. So very interesting comment, DOH. Thank you for that. I'm jealous of your weather right now. Hey, Christopher, just hopping on now. Catch up later. Hey, no worries, Christopher. Always appreciate the love, brother. Okay. Good seeing you. Hey, Kermit, keep up the great work. No, you keep up the great work, Kermit. Congratulations to you. Okay. Let's keep the fire lifestyle going. All right. And this week's going to be very important. Let's keep this performance going. Let's not get caught, holding the bag. These are 5 important steps that I discussed in today's video, but then it comes down to deleveraging and doing things to really lower the beta in a down market, but get stronger in an up market, which we talk all about in volume 7. We're going to be really putting that to use in the coming weeks. Jeremy, it doesn't matter, brother. Great to see you. We'll watch again on the replay. Love and blessings to you too, Jeremy. Oh, man, so great to see y'all. Dylan, yep, Neos leverage. I'm looking forward to it as well. Neos has been doing very well lately. Hey, Makes01, watching 3 live so far. Thank you. All right, Gib. Yeah, that would be cool. I have a small account. Yep, Gib. Christina, she has a smaller account. And so anytime she gets in trouble, we just use these strategies. I really think they're like, hacks, like life hacks, in my opinion. But and they just make growth out of a smaller account so much easier, so much less risky. All right, but regardless, it's been a great video. It's been great seeing all y'all. We're still getting this outperformance, living free from 9 to 5, and we're going to keep it that way. We're going to keep getting these dividends. And, we listed some ways in this video to get that outperformance. But obviously everything's found in my e-guides if you have any questions, okay? See my website at any time for my e-guides. When you buy my e-guides, you get free Discord access for life. Discord and my number for life, okay? Also, if you want to sign up for my memberships to see my portfolio and see how I deal with the market in real time, head to my membership section on my wall at YouTube. All right, I hear it works best from your computer when you're signing up. All right, so I love y'all once again. Leave comments if you have any other ideas on how to get outperformance and protect from a rolling correction in tech. And I'll see y'all soon. Yeah, and Frosty, everyone, please like and subscribe, of course. Okay? All right, I love y'all. See y'all soon. Bye-bye.